We have injuries and promotions to talk about up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday. Happy 4th of July. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's start things off with a big injury. Royce Lewis was officially placed on the IL with a grade 2 right adductor strain, and as a result, the Twins called up one of their top prospects, Brooks Lee. 30 games in the minors. He was batting .350 with 7 homers, 2 steals, a .997 OPS. He is 32% rostered. Scott, which size leagues would you be looking to add Brooks Lee now that he's been called up?
Well, I wouldn't be looking to add him across the board, and that may surprise some people because he is a highly regarded prospect, was the 8th overall pick in the draft 2 years ago. I think MLB Pipeline had him 13th overall at the time of his promotion. But I'm kind of skeptical of the whole profile here for Brooks Lee. He does have a good hit tool, high line drive rate, low strikeout rate, good all fields approach, things that lend themselves to a high batting average. But that is one of the more difficult contributions to predict going from minors to majors, that carrying that skill set over. As for the power, his average exit velocity at AAA was 85.4 miles per hour. His max was 104.9, both of which would rank near the bottom of all major league hitters. It's a similar exit velocity readings to Jeff McNeil, actually. So Brooks Lee may have hit for power at AAA, but the exit velocities don't support that he'll be a power hitter. I have seen enough of highlights of the 7 home runs that he does seem to have a knack for turning on an inside pitch. And we know from like Isaac Paredes that that's one way a hitter with bad exit velocities can still hit for power. So maybe Brooks Lee shares that unique trait that Isaac Paredes has. But it's hard to bet on that for a player just debuting in the majors. He did have a couple singles in his debut. There's upside, clearly. I mean, he wouldn't be such a high-end prospect if there wasn't. I'm not rushing out to add him in head-to-head leagues where there's just a shortstop spot, a second base spot, a third base spot. No extra infielders need to be started. In Roto, though, where you have that extra middle infield spot and the position is stretched further, then probably go ahead and pick up Lee there just for the upside possibilities.
And we had a trade. Aaron Civale was traded over to the Brewers in exchange for minor league infielder Gregory Barrios. And that means that Civale will become available in NL-only leagues. The bigger news here is that Shane Baz will take Civale's spot in the rotation, and he will start Friday in Texas. Big upside here. We know a couple of years ago, Shane Baz was ranked as one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball. He's 67% rostered. Scott, do you think Shane Baz is closer to a must-add right now?
Yeah, I'd prefer to add Baz over Brooks Lee. There's not a league where I think Baz should go unrostered. Remember, because I do think like people have forgotten just how high-end Baz was prior to Tommy John surgery. He was considered by consensus to be the second best pitching prospect in all of baseball heading into 2022, behind only Grayson Rodriguez. And for his first 8 major league starts, Shane Baz put together a 2.61 ERA, a .97 WHIP, 10.9 K per 9. The 9th start was a disaster, which preceded the Tommy John surgery, so I think we kind of throw that out. But Baz was looking like the real deal for the little bit we saw of him in the majors. Obviously, there was a bit of a buildup there in the minors, and so the overall stat line is skewed a bit by that. But the last few turns, the last 5 starts, 1.57 ERA, 13.7 K per 9. It's gotten the pitch mix closer to normal, closer to what it was before Tommy John surgery. And more than anything, this trade shows that the Rays are all in. I mean, they wouldn't have gotten rid of Civale if they didn't think Baz was ready to claim this job and run with it. So, yeah, I think you should yourself claim Baz and let him run with it.
The last news item here, Jordan Romano underwent arthroscopic surgery on his right elbow to repair an impingement and will be shut down from throwing for at least 6 weeks. I think best case scenario is we could see Jordan Romano may be back in September. The other news is that Jimmy Garcia threw a bullpen on Wednesday and will need at least one minor league rehab appearance before being activated. Garcia is 26% rostered, and once he's back, Scott, anything can happen. Chad Green has pitched well. My guess is that Garcia will take over as the closer again.
Yeah, I presume so. He was ahead in the pecking order, obviously, before getting hurt. This season, 2.57 ERA, 0.79 whip, 11.9 K per nine. I got to tell you, there was a case to be made that Garcia needed to be starting over Jordan Romano. We'll see how it goes, obviously, but I presume Jimmy Garcia will step back into that role.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.